Shalom, shalom, man. Still got a couple minutes, got about 2 minutes, and man, I'll let brothers take time and enter into the live. Man, if you're tuned into the live and the sound is good, you can hear me, man, type one in the chat. Man, if you cannot hear me, type zero in the chat. Also hit that like button and subscribe. We're going to talk about this precious market, pretty much taking off. Hey, Shalom, we got 8 set apart. We got Ranger in the comments. Shalom. Hope all is well with you. Have you guys been getting any of this crazy weather? I know where I'm at, man. We got, a good around the perimeter of structures in excess of a foot, but probably about 4 to 5 inches. Give it another minute. Oh yeah, that is right. 8 set apart. And I'm in the UK, brother. Man, if it reached over there, whoo. What's the weather out there like in the UK? Shalom, shalom, man. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Set Apart Man. Today, man, we're going to talk about, this silver, predominantly silver, but also gold is taking off also over for an ounce of gold, 5,000 for 1 ounce of gold. Hey, Ranger said, metal's been crazy. Where have you been? Hey, I'm a man of many hats, but recently returned from Fort Irwin. If anybody knows what that is, that's NTC out in the middle of nowhere of California. So had a trip out there. And one thing about me, far as operational security, yeah, I definitely don't disclose my locations or what I'm doing or detail it until after the fact, because there is a such thing as monitoring spirits out there. So, oh yeah, anytime I mention something like that, it's usually going to be well after it's done. But back home for this good weather, and Ranger's right, man. The silver market has been taking off. But man, before we dive up into this, man, let me give you a little bit of sound wisdom coming from the book of Proverbs on why conversations like this are important for the set apart. Proverbs 21:20. There is a precious treasure and oil in the house of the wise who prepare for the future. Who prepare for the future. But a short-sighted and foolish man swallows it up and wastes it. When you think about this, if you're a man out here and you're working, part of your duty is to be prudent with your earnings, make wise financial decisions, rather than keeping up with Jones, is keeping up with the times and things like that. So in this day, time, and hour, especially in the last days, there's going to be a lot of short-sighted and foolish men that's swallowing up their resources rather than being prudent and having something for the future. Okay, the next one is Proverbs 19:14, and I want you to pay particularly close, to the first part of this, because this is our role, this is our function, and oftentimes you have, 2 generations of men that were left no inheritance. Your grandfather left you no inheritance, and it's this right here. This conversation is going to play a big factor into it in the portfolio you have. So Proverbs 19:14, house and wealth are inherited from fathers, but a wise and understanding and sensible wife is a gift and blessing from Elohim or from Yahweh. So when we think about that, a house and wealth are the inheritance. How many of you received an inheritance or know that you will receive an inheritance? So, in conversations like this, trying to get things in order, trying to establish certain things, you know, this is how we make sure our children's children have something, you know, to pretty much obtain generational wealth from our generation, where a lot of men don't have that. Man, we got 8 Set Apart says it's usually cold, rainy, unpredictable unless it's spring or summer. Okay, it says, how do you think it's going to work in the last days with gold and silver when the mark of the beast starts, where no man may buy or sell? Let's see. Ranger 10 says, I've had people text me saying they're getting worried that the speed and ferocity of these metal prices. Well, I'll tell you. So there's something else that's really driving these markets through the roof. I talked briefly about the EV market and how much silver that was going to require, but I'll answer your question for 8 Set Apart. Okay, so when you think about that, the mark of the beast, man, there's already people that have claimed, what that was going to be, and some people were saying it was that, it was that Manny Pacquiao jab. Okay, another one, if we do see other things that are indicative of the mark of the beast, I think that your only way of surviving and bartering is going to be with goods that you produce and with precious metals. We look at some of the things they're doing far as employment, like you have to sign up for the some digital ID and things like that. Every continent or nation or country eventually in the last days is going to have some shape, form, or fashion of something that forces people to go a certain way. And if you haven't set yourself up or structured yourself to be able to survive, it's going to be difficult. Okay. And when we think about it, what China is doing is right now where they can buy, but they can't sell. So that factors in a large majority of it. Okay. Ranger said, I have people texting me, they're getting worried about the speed and ferocity of these metals. And I'll tell you, man, even with the market the way it is in the last couple of days, the price hikes that we're seeing, man, I would tell you it's still cheap. It is still cheap. It is still affordable, especially with how it is currently moving. You got to think, man. Let me pull this up. So I'm gonna look at, man, if we go to January 1st, 2026, silver was at $72.28. That was the spot price USD. Okay. Man, if you want to get 1 ounce, let me update this, make sure I'm giving current prices. If you want to get 1 ounce of, silver today, shipped to your door, man, we're looking at $14 above spot. So you're looking at 123 and 62 cents. And this thing is running. So we look at these prices over, January 1st, 2026, 72.28. Let's go to the 5th. We're at 77.31. January 7th, 78.54. And then January 9th, 2026, it cracked $80.13. And keep in mind, when you look at the 10-year analysis of silver, people 10 years ago giving predictions, assumptions, what they think would happen, man, silver has outperformed or superseded all of those expectations and predictions. So this is why you saw on the thumbnail, man, I said, silver $150 per ounce, because you got to think, man, we could easily be seeing that in the next 2 to 3 weeks, the way this thing is running. Okay. From January 9th to January 13th, the spot price went from $80 to $87.67. From the 13th to the 15th, man, it jumped to 93.47. Okay. And here we are, let's see, Monday, when you look at Monday, January 19th, 95.30. And today's date, let's go with it. It is currently at 115.53, 11% increase. This is very, very important that you have to think this thing is superseding inflation far as value. You think at the rate of inflation, the increase that you're getting, via fiat currency every year, if you get one, it can't keep up. It cannot compete with silver. So when you think about all of these commercials you're seeing on social media as far as AI technology, everybody is trying to launch their own AI platform. What people don't understand is AI technology uses a lot of silver. When you see these little videos to where you can you take a picture from your phone and you can tap it, and the AI generation will make that baby or whatever who's in that photo dance, people don't draw the connection of, okay, this is not just computer programming. Man, there is hardware that has to go with the software. And when you look at that hardware, man, it is silver heavy far as the demand. So the more people that are investing in this AI, what it's going to do is it's going to increase the demand of silver. And with silver, if you don't know, silver is a limited resource. When you think about there's only so much of it. When you think about it, there's only so much of it, but the demand is high, the price is going to take off. Price is going to straight up take off. Let's go back a year ago. Okay. So today is January 26th. Man, on Monday, on Wednesday, January 1st, 2025, silver was at $29.14. Think about that. I didn't get in until like 2.5 years ago. The first silver purchase ever. And just off those initial investments, where you are, if you were, which I don't recommend, if you were going to sell, you would get three times your money if you were selling, because when you go to sell, they're going to give you below spot. They're going to give you below spot so they can turn around and make them $10, $15 off of it. But I don't recommend selling unless you are in dire need, because the way this thing is going, let's go back 5 years. Let's see what this thing was looking like. So 2021, it was still holding steady at around $26, $27. We weren't seeing the, extreme jumps like we're seeing now. I got a couple articles here that I want to read just to let you know where the demand is coming from. Silver is crucial for AI infrastructure used in data centers, servers, and semiconductors for its superior conductivity, with demand surging due to AI's expansion, driving significant industrial consumption, estimated in the hundreds of millions of ounces annually for data centers alone, creating a tight supply and price vitality. While precise grams per unit vary, its role in high-performance conductors, semiconductors, packaging connectors, and sensors make it indispensable for the entire AI tech stack. So when you think about AI, the reason, silver is very important is because people don't want slow AI. When you think about deep search, analysis and things like that, and it's able to research and source a whole bunch of information. We're talking terabytes, worth of information, and it bring you an answer or a conclusion back in 5 seconds. Man, that takes a lot of silver. Okay. Data centers and servers. Silver is vital for high density circuit boards, power systems, and ultra fast connections within AI servers and data centers, which one estimate suggested US and China data center demand could reach 450 million ounces in 2025. Okay. we're already into 2026. Semiconductors. It is used in fabrication, advanced packaging, chiplets, and thermal management for AI chips and accelerators. So when you think about it, major computer corporations are always trying to increase speed, processor speed. And with some of the speeds that we're seeing now, man, that makes for a high draw of the silver resource. Sensors and connectors. Silver's excellent conductivity makes it essential for specialized sensors and connectors in all the electric devices, including those for AI. Photovoltaics. While not AI specific, silver and solar panels also support massive energy needs of the AI infrastructure to adds to overall demand. So when you think about that, a lot of these, whether it be crypto mining facilities in the middle of nowhere in Texas and things like that, if you look up, these locations and you see not only how big these areas are, but they also have, hundreds of acres far as solar systems, and that is increasing the need. Man, if we go to Metals Daily, that is a good website if you want to look up, current trends, do some analysis on precious metals. Metals Daily is a good one. Okay. That's metalsdaily.com. Man, let's see what CNBC has to say. Man, let's see. Ranger says it went up so high and fast, the bankers are probably at work smashing the price back down. Yeah, and that's a whole nother conversation about how the bankers are doing what they do to try to, slow down this so they can remain profitable and maintain control. Okay, man, looking at an article published at 8 a.m. this morning on CNBC, silver just broke another record. Here's what's driving the precious metals' new price surge. Let's see what this has to say. Let's see. Let's see. No, that wants you to pay for this. We ain't doing that. We're not doing that. Let's see. Okay, here's one from Kitco News. Silver rally may be topping as prices impact industrial demand. Gold shrugs off Greenland deal to move above 5,000 an ounce. Okay, let's see. History indicated that silver is now overvalued in relation to gold, even as sky high prices are forcing key industries to innovate from the gray metal, while gold prices continue to move sharply higher despite the de-escalation between US and Europe over Greenland, according to precious metals analysts at Harris. In the latest update, the analyst wrote that silver's dramatic outperformance of gold over the last 9 months suggests that rally may be topping out in the near term. Historically, silver has outperformed gold in the closing stage of prices rallies. They said the gold silver ratio has fallen from 105 in April 2025 to a low of 49 last week. Let's see when this article, let me see if it gives me a date that this thing came out. Said today. Yep, let's see. Yeah, this article today. Just want to make sure. Let's see what else we got. Ranger said, when I said it's not what it's cracked up to be, I was referring to the weather or storm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've definitely gotten the most snow that we've gotten in the last 5 years. So one thing I want you to keep in mind, when people were making their predictions 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, there wasn't as much buzz around it. Right now, there is more buzz than there's ever been. And the silver video, when you look at on YouTube at the amount of precious metals related videos that have came out in the past 6 months compared to 2 years ago, man, it has quadrupled in the amount of uploads. YouTube, social media, whether it be Facebook, whether it be uh, any other kind of platform where people are posting videos, there is an extreme buzz around it. And here's the thing. even with the buzz and the price being what it is, you still have a large majority of people that don't get it. They won't partake in it, you know. And if you procrastinate on this, we could potentially easily see this thing within year, the next year. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing hit, 200 an ounce. I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't shock me. And guess what? As long as the demand is there, that's still cheap. That's still cheap. Okay. Why do I say that's still cheap? Man, people spend 250, dudes my age spend 250 on some tennis shoes, and the value is gonna go down. You're gonna wear them, you're gonna hoop in them, you're gonna do this, you're gonna wear them out, get them stepped on, get them dirty, and they're going to depreciate. So when you think about it, even if it does hit 150, even if it does hit 200, man, that is still cheap. Because when you think about this in the long game, this being an inheritance, you being like, okay, a lot of the stuff that we focus on and we spend our money on financially, 2 generations from now, man, your grandchildren aren't going to want any of that stuff. You got all these shoes, all these things that you've been collecting, but it has no value to them. Has no value to them. But man, let your grandchildren, you pass on some precious metals. Think about the value that is going to have in that daytime and hour. Think about where the future of technology, AI, EV will be by then. Think about where it will be and what you have done, because it's already a limited resource in high demand. And the more that gets used, the more valuable the silver and gold that people have been stacking becomes. They can't reproduce it. There won't be any more of it. So 20-year, 40-year, 60-year, 80-year value is gonna be through the roof. That's why I said, man, I don't encourage, anybody sell unless you are in dire need. Okay. Let's see. We got MTS trading 500 an ounce silver is cooking, and I'm buying heavy. Hey, it wouldn't, if it reaches, I want you to think about this. If it reaches 200 an ounce, 150 an ounce, think about how much buzz there's going to be. And at that rate, the more buzz, the more feeding frenzy around it, you have people buying it at a higher price. So what does that do? It makes the gold that you've got stored away, the silver that you've got stored away, it makes it more valuable. You got to understand, like, we may be looking at a situation where if you got in within the last 5 years, you're easily going to see 10x of your initial investment. Okay. MTS trading 500 ounce silver is cooking, and I'm buying heavy. H to the part says, I feel like the percentage of people actually investing in gold and silver is below. I would definitely agree with you, because when you think about bread and circus, okay, if anybody knows what bread and circus is, give the people bread and give them entertainment. It keeps them distracted. So when you look at the average person, the average man that you come across, what his mind is focused on, what are the things that's distracting him? This is the reason why it is so low. Okay. MTS trading, what prices? It's effing paper. You're measuring real money. That precious paper, 500 ounce silver is cooking. That will be real generation wealth. Ranger says H, maybe 1% or less worldwide, meaning physical PM and holding it in hand, not stored elsewhere. Yeah, I haven't been a fan of that. Some of these, here's the thing. Some of these companies are doing what they call, you give them your fiat paper currency and they hold it for you. I don't recommend that, because, man, if these companies, let's just say, for instance, historically, there's been companies that have owed people money, have been storing things, and they went under. And guess what? They said, hey, we can't give you because we don't have anything. I wouldn't recommend that. Letting somebody hold your precious metals. That just seems like a recipe for disaster. And these companies will exploit legal loopholes and leave you high and dry. Yeah, 8 set apart said, I would never trust to hold it elsewhere. Man, when you're looking at these prices, let me update this. If I get on AppMax or SD Bullion, right now, man, you're looking at $123.69 for uh 1 ounce of silver round. Let's see what we got when we come to junk or 90%. Let's see what this is. So this stuff, so the refineries, if you didn't know, the refineries aren't taking this fractional silver right now because when you think about, it's almost not even worth it to take it unless you've got an abundance of it and you got it at a good deal. But if you're trying to just take it and flip this 90%, you're going to end up losing some money because they're going to charge you a fee to, refine this. But when we look at 90% silver, $5 face value roll, you're looking at 407 and 73 cents, and that's 90%. So 10% of that is additional metals. You have to get it refined. But even these for stacking, when it comes to bartering, it's going to give you some good value in the terms of bartering. A lot of people, man, you have people that have been in this for, 5 plus 10 years, and their knowledge is very deep. So when you think about this frenzy of people currently getting in, and I would say, man, eight set apart said it's probably less than 10%. I would say we'd be safe to say it's probably less than 5% that are actually focused on some of these market trends and the way the market is going. So if things get really bad but good for precious metals investors, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get some of this 90% silver. And one thing I've been doing recently is when it comes to buying, they have the stuff that is more trendy, it's more artwork oriented, and these different collectibles. I stay away from that collectible stuff, and I'm going for the actual, the weight and the value of the precious metal. So I'll give you an example. Let's see. Let me get to it. I'll give you an example, prime example of what I'm talking about. Okay. So if I go to, let's see. So I want you to think about this. They've got 1 ounce silver round buffalo. Okay. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you the difference of, people know the buffalo, well known silver buffalo. Man, that's going to cost you 125.08 to your door. Okay. And if I get 1 ounce silver round secondary market, okay, you're going to get that for 123.52 to your door. So there's a little bit of savings there. Man, let's see. Eight set of parts that I would never trust to hold it elsewhere. Hello, no, my AK-47 is holding for me. I wouldn't give them my fiat currency. Laugh out loud. Ranger said storing it elsewhere, like a depository bank, safety deposit box, etc. MTS Trade said, I'm trying to find a big van, install a tank for extra fuel, and get ready for the woo. Hey, so that is a off the web conversation. That definitely is an off the web conversation, because I want you to think, when this resource gets extremely low, we see everything that's going on in the world and how unhinged a lot of things are. Things that, should be illegal are now being, looked at, and nobody's really saying anything, and it's happening legally. So here you are sitting on, a store of precious metals, and these companies are, requiring it. Man, there's no telling what, the black market and what you will have to do in order to keep your silver in the future. And I tell you, one thing you might want to get is, you might want to have a good bit of ammunition, because that day may come where you might have to defend what it is that you have worked hard to save up and to protect your investment. That day may come. Let's look at this. I want to go. Okay, because one thing I want you to read is, a lot of people are very optimistic, But when it comes to what the Bible actually says, man, your optimism ain't got nothing to do with, end times prophecy. And people are saying, well, we hope for better and all of this, but that's not what the book says. So when we look, it says this also in the last days, difficult times shall come. No matter how much you want to think that, man, this is gonna get easy, it's gonna get better. No. It's 2 Timothy 3. For men shall be lovers of their own self, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers. Ooh, so here's the thing. We're talking about these companies. You pretty much in these systems where you get paid and you can get on a bi-weekly, you can get on a monthly, where you're sending in your digital or your fiat currency, and they're telling you, hey, well, we're going to hold this for you and you can trust us. You can trust us. Your investment is safe. This book is telling you in the last days, people will be truce breakers, meaning, okay, you got a contract, that says, hey, they're supposed to cover you and that your stuff is protected. They're going to have no problem breaking these contracts in the last days. People already have a hard time keeping their word. False accusers, incontinence, fears, despisers of those that are good. When you think about it, man, you could be, you know, man, buying up all kind of foolishness right now that has no value and despisers of those that are good. But because you're trying to be wise with your resources, people will hate you for that. Okay. Traitors, heady, high minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Yahweh, having a form of godliness, but deny the power of. From such turn away. So you can read, Matthew 24 as well, and it'll disclose to you what will actually go on in the last days. Let me pull this up because you are your best form of physical protection. You can't count on when things go down, you cannot count on anybody else other than you to protect yourself and your investment on a physical sense. And let's see. Yeah, I've been tuning in at least once daily, just checking it. But, I decided to put this one up because, like I said, I made it back home from NTC. And within the last 2 days, I'm talking about this surge is off the chain. Okay. Hey, if you're tuned into this, man, hey, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that like button because I've got some wisdom, and videos on a lot of other topics that will help you out, become set apart. This is only one aspect of it. 8 Set Apart said, we haven't seen nothing yet regarding perilous times compared to what's actually to come. I agree with you. I actually agree with you. People think what we're seeing is very bad in the world. It's going to get worse. It's going to get a lot worse. And that's one reason to stay out of the way. But I'm not so quick to rip and run the streets, but stay out of the way, mind my own business, and don't get involved in things that's don't concern me. Because when you think about Hasatan, where he has dominion on earth, this is where a lot of trickery and deception and manipulation will take place. So yeah, you got to pay attention to what matters, salvation most importantly. And this is just one of many other investments that being set apart, man, you need to keep your eye out for. But even at today's prices, $109 current spot price, getting into your house at 123, 125 to your door, man, it's still cheap. It's still cheap because you know what? You're going to go to bed tonight, you're going to wake up next week and you're going to check it. And today's prices are a thing of the past. Who knows? You could wake up and that thing could be at 130 next week. Thing of the past. You should have got in. Here's the way I look at it. Like I said before on the other precious metal updates, I could have easily, when I was younger, I had no problem buying, $100 shoes, things like this. And where are they today? Gave a lot of them to Goodwill, sold some of them for far less than they was worth. But when you think about how easy we spend money and other things that won't be passed on to the next generation, it's crazy. You probably, you probably have, even though I'm estimating 5% of people that are actually focused on this and getting in on it, it's probably even way less than that. This is the 1% of the population that's actually understanding the way this thing is going. Everybody is, a lot of people are using this AI, but they don't understand what the actual hardware infrastructure is going to demand as far as precious metals and silver being highly conductive, allowing these processors and sensors to be super efficient, effective. And then when it comes to their cooling property, other melodies, other metals or conductors are going to generate more heat, but silver is the complete opposite. It's going to generate speed. Also, it's going to have cooling properties as well. People don't think about that. So you have some people that are completely asleep. They have people around them that are telling them what's going on, but because they aren't aligned or focused on things of truth, they're going to miss out. And that's too bad for them. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up, man. I appreciate you guys tapping into me. We got MTS Trading says they're used to a mother called government, hard coded. Hey, appreciate you guys for tuning in, tapping in with me. And from this point on, like I said, I will be putting scheduling the lives that way. If YouTube sends a notification out, it sends the notification and you know when it's coming. But hey, stay set apart, stay disciplined, stay in the word of the Most High, and we'll see where this thing goes. Hopefully, you know, for those that are invested, this thing takes off and you're going to get some good returns on your investment, good ROI. Hey, shalom.